The origin of Pennywise in Welcome to Derry at least validated a long Stephen King fan theory, even though it didn't solve all the unanswered questions about the monster. The roots of Pennywise, the antagonist in Stephen King's horror novels, were ultimately revealed in Welcome to Derry, Season 1, Episode 4. The final scene of the outing, in which a young Dick Halloran utilizes his gift of the Shining to read Taniel's mind, effectively verifies this in Episode 4. Dick quickly realizes that this monster is Pennywise after entering his thoughts and seeing a fable about the Galoo that Taniel was told as a child. Additionally, the Galoo narrative demonstrates that Pennywise may be an ancient Native American mythological monster, a possibility that Stephen King has alluded to in previous writings. In Welcome to Derry, Pennywise's brutal attacks frequently have two purposes. They murder and maim victims while simultaneously traumatizing onlookers. This implies that in addition to the bodies of his deceased victims, Pennywise can profit from the anguish, fear, sorrow, loneliness, rage, frustration, and other negative feelings of his victims who are still alive. The adults in the community ignore Pennywise's whole existence, leaving the terrified youngsters who witness his attacks with no one to turn to. Together with Taniel's recollection of the Galoo story, this could be seen as proof that Pennywise is a Wendigo. According to a Native American legend, the Wendigo is a malevolent creature that can take control of humans and drive them to engage in cannibalism out of ravenous desire. In a broader sense, the Wendigo is utilized as a malignant symbol of heartless consumption and ruthless greed. The Galoo primarily pursues the European conquerors of America, grows stronger by feeding on them, and depends on fear, greed, and other negative human emotions to sustain its power. Teniel's vision seems to make a fairly compelling argument for the Galoo's classification as a Wendigo. All of this is consistent with how Wendigo are traditionally portrayed. The terrible character deaths in Welcome to Derry are explained by the fact that it is already evident that Pennywise flourishes when his surroundings are full of unhappy people. The creature feeds on human sorrow, which necessitates a self-centered, heartless population in the town of the same name. As a result, the Galoo greatly benefited from the presence of European settlers. The European conquerors disregarded this crucial rule and quickly became food for the Galoo, while the locals restricted the monster's strength by carefully avoiding its woodland home. Crucially, though, they also joined the monster's array of disguises. When a native woman approached the Galoo, they assumed the form of undead invaders. This is similar to how the Wendigo functions in King's previous book Pet Sematary and its adaptations, where the invisible antagonist of the work is an off-screen Wendigo. Even though they are aware that occasionally dead is better, the Wendigo's influence frequently prompts newcomers to employ the titular Pet Sematary to bring their loved ones back to life. Pet Sematary's Wendigo feeds off the growing anguish of the main family in the story, much as Pennywise feeds off the persecution of Hank Grogan and other minority characters in Derry during both Welcome to Derry and the It movies. The newcomers are doomed in both cases because they give in to the monster's seduction. Since the Wendigo feeds on negative human emotion and can only possess those it successfully overwhelms, it now makes sense that Pennywise can eventually be defeated by his victims' refusal to fear him. Up until now, the conclusion of It Chapter 2 always seemed a little disappointing because the characters basically recognized that all they had to do was make fun of Pennywise. When viewers consider Pennywise to be a Wendigo, this conclusion makes more sense. Although his authority may appear boundless, it is limited by how receptive his victims are to his advice. It is simple for the entity to make its victims feel hopeless in a community like Derry that is racist, homophobic, sexist, narrow-minded, and corrupt.